Alright, cool. Let me just make sure everything is going
It
smoothly.
is, yes, scheduled for. Yep. Oh, I see.
We are
It
2
says
minutes late.
upcoming. And here we are.
I just want to make sure everything looks good before I do my intro. I have to
Your audio is doing.
go through a
Okay.
stupid ad
There we go.
because I don't have an
It's
ad
live.
block on
It's
my
live.
phone. Yeah, I'm trying to get the live chat out, but I have to go through a stupid ad. Alright, cool. Nice. Alright.
Of course.
Okay, got everything. Alright. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a long overdue session of the Oyu'baat cast. I am Tad Lar'kin, YouTube's resident Mandalorian historian, and with me I have...
So good God, I'm Sombraptor. You probably know me if you've watched these shows. God, it has been too long, hasn't it?
Far too long.
Very.
This is.
Sukoigar. I am Wildcat.
You did a good rolling R. It's rare for Americans.
Americans.
Ich spreche Deutsch. Ich habe 5 Jahre in deutsche Klasse.
Das ist gut.
Und Icelandic.
Your R's are a little hard there. You gotta get some phlegm in there. They do a lot of and when you pronounce the R in German, you kind of have to go in the back of your throat, like Rex.
Links.
Blitzkrieg. You gotta kind of like put like
Blitzkrieg.
you gotta get like some phlegm in there. It's very phlegmy language.
Ahmed, can you spell your name? C. Phlegm.
And just like that, we get demonetized.
Oh boy.
No, it's safe because it's a Jeff Dunham joke, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Okay, good that you both know that little bit, because I believe that Manda-LORE pronunciation was like said to be. I think Karen Travis or what's his name? Jesse Harlan specifically said, yeah, we wanted a little bit of a Germanic vibe in there in terms of the linguistic.
I always picture Manda-LORE being having like a almost Norse or Icelandic sort of tone to it.
One would assume, given that Karen Travis kind of based them on the Celts a little bit, that they'd have like some Gaelic. I have never spoken or heard Gaelic, so.
Well, there's elements from a lot of Celtic.
Yeah, there's elements from different like Romance languages as well, which is why I wish I did ask her, like email her and ask her that question that we've talked about it a bit in my in past Oyu'baat cast episodes. But when I did my Mandalorian's Legends and History video, where I talked about all the different historical influences for Mandalorians.
Yeah, that was a good video.
I actually wish I made it longer. I might redo it at some point, because I wanted to talk about like the Maori. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Hunnic influences too, but
then let's definitely collaborate, because I was actually planning on making that before you made that.
All right, we can collab, and then we can do that Clone Wars video that we've been working on for 3 years.
I think that was like almost 4 years. Oh my God.
I've been in this house for 3 years, and we started working on that when I was at my old apartment, so it's been over 3 years.
Gracious.
Yeah.
Procrastinated on that, but alas.
Just a little bit. So this episode, because it's been so long since we actually had an Oyu'baat cast, it's going to be kind of like a recap, just like stuff that went on for the past couple months that we never got to talk about. I think the last thing we talked about was when Brian from Barb's Basement was here. We talked about a little bit about like the Halo series, and you guys had some strong opinions on that. I had some differing opinions for once.
That's a kind way of saying that it was bad.
It was pain. But yes, no. I suppose we can, going as the title goes along, we can start with Tales of the Jedi, parenthesis Filoni, parenthesis new canon, parenthesis. I don't know how else we're going to differentiate it from the original.
Parenthesis, nothing to do with Dark Horse comics or the originals.
Okay,
Yeah.
as I'm the only one here who's seen it, all I'm gonna say is, it's right. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's.
Well, it gives some interesting, from what I've seen, it looks like it gives some interesting insight into, Dooku's past, and we see
that was definitely the best part of it, showing the elements placed here and there of his fall to the dark side. It doesn't, as you might expect, it doesn't exactly line up with the previous Legends lore of how that went, but it's yeah. Although I will say, the thing I find absolutely hilarious was the day before it came out, there was some like Twitter post that was like, I really hope it turns out that Yaddle just speaks completely normally and Yoda's just an absolute freak. Yoda's just an absolute friggin' weirdo.
That would be interesting.
It's just Bryce Dallas Howard speaking normally, so it's like, okay.
Well, my hopes for the show was that it was actually going to be... Well, it's twofold. It's like, no, I don't want them to do Legend stuff, but when I saw the logo, I'm like, oh my god, are we getting Exar Kun and Ula Keldroma and Manda-LORE the Ultimate?
Indomitable.
Or, Indomitable, right? Technically, Manda-LORE the Ultimate was in the comic at the very, very end.
Very, very end. but yeah, no, let's get into the bit that gets us a little salty.
Yeah.
Why did they decide to use the exact same title, exact same logo, without having anything to do? Like, I've always been the most restrained among us. In terms of like, amidst us, I've always been willing to Amogus. God, kill me. Me. Oh my god. Give benefit of the doubt to some of the creatives, but just honestly, like, gets the paranoid gears in my brain turning. It's like, it's literally just an attempt to kind of brush away the old, and it's like,
it's to bury it. It's to let the past die, kill it if you have to.
Yeah, that's basically what I don't know. And of course, obviously this wasn't timed in relation to that, but it did, coincide with the same week that Tom Veitch sadly passed away, the writer for the original Tales of the Jedi. But that's just a terrible, terrible coincidence. But alas.
Yeah.
I wonder what Kevin J. Anderson thought of it, because he watches some of the new stuff with his grandkids.
That's a good question. I don't. Yeah, I've seen varying. With a lot of new canon stuff, there seems to be. When it comes to the old guard of the writers, there's some varying opinions.
I understand.
Obviously, James Luceno, Timothy Zahn, they have been invited back. So
yeah,
right. But
I understand where Kevin J. Anderson comes from, and he knew that something like this could happen anyway. So I think he was just happy that he contributed to the saga for as long as he did.
Yeah, it's true. It's let's not get all depressy about.
I would have loved for the show to be actually about Ula Keldroma and Exar Kun, because I would have loved to have them bring him on to like give them some insight into we need more of an origin story, I feel, for Exar Kun, because when we first see him in the comics,
by that point he's already nearly done as a Padawan.
Yeah, he's almost a knight, and then he discovers the Freedon Nad, not holocron, but the Vodosiask box journal, and he says, "Hey, what's this?"
Which leads him to Andro.
Yeah.
Those two are together, obviously.
And like some twisted Ash Ketchum, he goes to be the very best he ever was, but ends up becoming a Sith.
He's the best around.
Oh my god, am I now gonna have to draw Exar Kun with Ash's hat? Like, just kidding.
Oh my god. I wanna
Which
be
related.
the very
Is now
best.
Slivar,
Now-
I choose you.
No
Prince
one
series.
was.
That's the one with Agumon. Bakugan, Beyblade. No.
Beyblade.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Also, figured it out that Pokemon is now finally moving to a new protagonist. That's very.
Took them
jarring.
forever.
Oh yes, after
Forever.
32 years, Ash Ketchum
He
finally
is.
becomes 13 years old or something like that.
He's the 10-year-old with 25 years experience that everybody wants to hire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it would be absolute Kino if it just ends with him sending out a Gengar, new protagonist sending out Nidorino. Whoa, it's like the intro to the first game, haha. But oh wow,
Todd
thank you.
Howard.
Todd Howard. Oh
Todd
my God.
Howard.
Oh, thank you,
Lord of-
Todd Howard. I love your games. When are we getting the next Elder Scrolls?
This guy's sick.
Todd
Summon.
Howard.
Thank you, Todd.
Todd Howard.
Ahsoka being shoehorned by Filoni into everything. She's basically a secondary protagonist at this point.
Secondary.
about-
I would consider her the primary protagonist of Star Wars
She's
now.
the primary
like,
antagonist
was-
to me.
yeah, like
I was about to say, yeah, in relation to Filoni, it's interesting how
she's just in everything. Like, okay, I will be absolutely like the middle one here on this one.
Oh, good.
I
That makes
did not
one.
have right. I had no real issues with Ahsoka when she first came out.
really
I was like, it's weird, but okay, sure, whatever.
kind
Let's
of got
follow.
the inverse opinion to most people. Most people hated her at the beginning, grew to like her. Now, so you didn't mind her. Now think she's overdone?
I had no issues with her, and my issues with her only really began with Mandalorian season 2, season 7 of Clone Wars, Rebels, her own show, another show she was shoehorned in, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's somewhere in Andor. And I'm just like,
She's not. I can confirm. That.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You don't
though.
know. Next season, or who knows?
That actually brings me to tying all these convos together. It's interesting how, Ad, you've always been one of the most vocal of the anti-Filoni circle.
Yeah.
And whereas most of the internet has been stripping the ground he walks on.
Yeah.
Now it's interesting how many people are now kind of
Oh yeah.
turning on him. Like they're like, oh, it's almost like Andor showed people. It's like, no, you don't need like constant referencing.
I'm the
Leia.
crazy tinfoil hat who was right.
I'm
I'm literally that. Oh, continue.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I'm literally that meme from Eric Andre's show where it's like, "Why are you booing me? I'm right."
like yeah, I had always been of the mind like, oh, she's not that terrible. Like, she's not great. Don't get me wrong. But it's like it was never one where I was just like mouth breather hating her for just existing.
I hate her for just existing because her existence is not justified, but that's fine.
No, her existence
Thank you for
isn't
calling me a
justified.
mouth breather.
No. I'm not saying like specifically. You know exactly the type of people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the I have 20 girlfriends person.
Oh, the misogynists.
Oh, that. Oh.
The people who hate her because she's a
Audience,
female
you may not
protagonist.
know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't know. Okay. So, anyways, I'll continue on from that. I don't want to bring that poor person's dirty laundry onto the open like this.
Oh, on my server, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so my issue really became when it was just like blatantly obvious to anyone with a mind of just how much they were using her for literally everything. And I was just like, can you not come up with one additional character?
Oh, hold on. That's I wouldn't say that he's made a ton of characters, but if you mean in regards to
Literally shoehorning her
into every possible scenario.
Yes. It's like
That.
it's like for the Mandalorian, why did we need Ahsoka in season 2 of Mandalorian? Like Bo-Katan, sure, maybe, yeah, I can see why you would probably need Bo-Katan in the Mandalorian show because they're following.
And show the.
Yeah, they're following Rebels and what happened with the Mandalorians in that one. Okay, fine, you have to include her. I hate her, whatever. I understand though. I don't have to like it, but I can at least understand it. But it's like, why couldn't we have just had like another Jedi? Why couldn't we have met like an older Jedi who's been like away from everything, kind of like a Yoda almost, who's been in hiding?
I mean,
Like-
the new canon has been very deliberate in trying to minimize the number of
Right.
survivors.
Have they though?
They really haven't though, because they then made an entire game of nothing but Order 66 survivors.
Shay.
You could have had one of
them died. So
you could have
that's
had one of them from that game, which would have been a great tie-in. I think that would have been amazing if they had done that instead of just another Ahsoka. What was the other thing she was brought into? She had her own show. Why did she need her own show? Like they've announced
popular and they want to cash in.
Why does she need her own show? She had her own show. It was Clone Wars. She was literally the main protagonist of Clone Wars.
Basically, yeah.
Especially season 7. Season 7 was just her. It was just her.
Well, not the Bad Batch arc, but besides that, yes.
It's just her.
The whole show, the whole Clone Wars show is her. Like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It took away from Anakin and Obi-Wan's. There were some episodes that the really refreshing episodes of the show were the ones that focused on Anakin and Obi-Wan, and nothing else. But
nothing else. Those are really good ones.
She
Also, the ones that.
Yeah, she stole the show literally.
Yeah, she was. Dave Filoni put her literally in every episode he could with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it's like, it was obnoxious. It was just like, all right, I get it. You have a character you like, but there are other characters involved in this show.
All right.
And you're not giving any of them any kind of love or support.
Yeah, but then when they do use other characters, they misuse them, like Barisofi.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah.
She's the worst example. Then there's Quinlan Voss, who they got his powers and stuff right, but they just got his demeanor
complete inversions of their previous characters.
Yeah, I mean there's some things that they did well with Voss, like his psychometric abilities, and that was cool. That was cool to see, but they got his demeanor completely wrong.
Because here's the thing, right? So everybody always jumps to like praise, like everybody's like, wow, TCW was so crazily like good about maintaining continuity. They like had to like jump through hoops so that Anakin never met Grievous, whatever. I'm like, why is that? That's like the bare minimum for maintaining a continuity.
And they glance at each other several times.
Like,
yeah.
It's I don't like I understand to the layman. It's like
the one where they the malevolence the malevolence episode, like Anakin and Grievous see each other from across the like maglev train tunnel thing that's within malevolence for some reason, but that's a different issue.
Okay. Daniel Mula says, actually, it's Quinlan Lebowski. Is the proper
Quinlan
Yep,
Lebowski.
he is Quinlan, but he's the dude.
Voss abides, man.
The Voss abides. But and to avoid turning this whole thing into just why the Clone Wars doesn't fit in Legends Part 3, and trying to stay
Part 3. You mean like Part 9?
and trying to stay in, like, other than her, mannerisms at the beginning, which annoyed me. I dislike Ahsoka because she just doesn't. There is no capacity where she really needs to exist. She doesn't really add anything to Anakin's character, and they did hit, like, they could have, like, if they killed her off, that would have actually added something to Anakin's character and giving him, like,
absolutely
something for the dark side, to kind of further him along his path, but they didn't. And it's whatever, that's their choice. But
man, especially like, I'm thinking about that, right? So like he's made to be like her master in a sense, but he's never granted the rank of master, right? And so, and then she ends up dying. He internalizes that. And so when Mace goes and tells him, like, you were on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master, it's like, that is a really deep, that's like bringing to the forefront, yeah, you let a Padawan die under your hands.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity. And realistically, given Anakin's behavior in Episode 2, what the fuck were they think was gonna happen? Did they really think he was a stand-up guy that they could actually charge with the training of a child to be an actual Jedi Knight? I would not let him near... If I had a child, I would not let him near my child.
Didn't kill just the...
Like,
there's the most bizarre thing of all is like that they insist that it was like that what the CW movie is supposed to be only like 7 weeks after AOTC. I mean, come on.
Oh my god.
No, it was 4 weeks, according to the Essential Reader's Companion. So a complete month. And that that's really my problem. But yes, to avoid getting this into
to be like, experience outranks everything. You've been in it for a month. Okay, all right.
We should, if we're done talking about Tales of the Jedi, we should talk about.
Let's skip ahead. Let's go ahead.
We should either get back to talking about Tales of the Jedi or move on to our next topic, which I believe you wanted to talk about Andor.
Oh, sure. Great. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I'm the only one here who's seen it, but Praise Online has. At least in my opinion, is warranted. Some a little wonky stuff with some props. I believe somebody in the comments pointed out the AK-47, but
look, I will stand on that hill. I had another guy try to tell me how they were lazy with the props of weapons, and I was just like, you realize that the E11, the most famous blaster in Star Wars, is literally just a Sterling.
The DL-44 is a Mauser broom handle.
They Swarzify it though. They add the scopes. They put those little
the scope.
The A280 is an M16.
Yeah, the A280 is an M16, but the E11, like the Sterling scope.
Now I will concede the DLT-19 is straight up an MG42.
Yeah.
without just taking off the
SE. What was it?
You feed into it.
Yeah.
The T21 is literally just a Lewis gun.
Yeah. With the drum mag and everything.
But the difference, I think that the reason why the AK-47 is so jarring for so many people is that it's, the most common gun on the planet in real life. Like, literally, actually, to my understanding, the two, I don't quote me on this, I've read that 2 exact models of weapon that have killed the most people in history are Roman Gladius, the AK-47.
Yeah.
So, and just the minimal I see why people find it jarring.
Right.
I see why, but I think the complaints about it are kind of dumb.
Sure.
Because let me put it this way: like, if people are just like, hey, we don't like the AK-47 design, fine. That's a perfectly understand. I can understand that. I don't like the AK-47. I don't think it's a good gun, but that's coming from a gun nut.
What
so.
are you talking about? Superior Russian Kalashnikov engineering. What?
Yeah, tell that to the Russians right now.
Yeah, no.
um,
Vodniks.
but like, Vodniks. But like but like people are just like saying it's like, oh, it's just so unoriginal. It's like they couldn't have done anything better to it. It's like, shut up and look at OG Star Wars because they didn't
They
care when they
do
were
change though. They add the scopes and the mounting things and the
for the Sterling. They didn't even add the scopes. All they did was they added the fins. It was literally the only thing they did. They even kept the magazine.
I'll put it a short one, but yeah.
That was still a standard issue magazine that you could purchase for the Sterling. It wasn't like something that they custom made. It's just that's what they did. And it's just like Star Wars has this thing of just taking that's what Star Wars does is they take modern looking weapons and they just use them because why
sorry,
fix
what I meant to say before was in regards to no, it's not supposed to be modern. It's supposed to be like World War II, with the exception of the A280 being an M16. But in the original trilogy, everything was World War II or prior, with the again exception of the A280. But
and the Sterling,
I see. Sterling was World War II.
Nope, it was made in 1950s.
Now,
was it?
Wasn't it because they had like an overabundance of like World War II props from other movies? Isn't that why they?
Yes,
they
it wasn't
no. They were actual at the very least in A New Hope. They were actually functional.
Oh wow.
Weapons. They were firing blanks.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
You could actually see in A New Hope.
Smoke and if you see the original,
you can see the
like,
casings.
And like in the pre-editing footage, you just see that. Da, 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 da. It's hilarious.
Oh wow! I'll have to actually take a look at that.
So it's like I will always point at people who are like have other issues with the show. I'm not going to tell you to not have issues with the show. Have issues with the show. Just make sure that the issues you have with the show can't be just easily refuted. Like, oh, I don't like this thing because it's unoriginal, and like the original trilogy was so much more original with their guns. I'm like, no, they weren't.
Had what they had on. They used what they had on hand. That's literally what they were. Was it? Is it Pine? Sorry, no. RAF card. I forget the studios in the UK they used and exported to Tunisia. Whatever.
Like we say that they had what they had on hand, but like the Sterling SMG, the Sterling 9mm at the time was still in common service. Like that, the British SAS had a lot of Sterlings, so it was like it's not even seen as like this huge like, oh wow, look at this old technology. It's like this was in the 50s. This is only like 20 years ago. The AK-47 is older than the Sterling.
I'll be.
The AK-47 was literally made in 1947.
Wait. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, it was tested in the British Army from 1944. Did not replace this then until 1953. So
yes,
I will concede on that.
Yes.
But
so it's like also the MG42s. Germany still uses them. They're called MG3s now.
Really?
It's the common standard issue machine gun for Germany, for the Bundeswehr, is the MG3, and is literally just the MG42 chambered in 7.62 NATO.
Huh.
There is no difference.
But, regardless,
I will say again, have issues with the show. Just don't complain about dumb issues.
Right.
Well, dumb is what we're all about. As a
I
fan
am.
base.
Has
I'm all
Andor
about
finished
them.
its first season yet?
Oh.
Andor completed. Season at least.
Also,
Um,
Sim, I do see you're talking about blasters based off the AK-47 on DeviantArt. I mean, that's DeviantArt. You give artists with a lot of passion, the care and time to do anything. Yeah, they'll make something better than anything. I mean,
yeah, that's like
that's
bad.
like
I mean, it has a
saying
bad rap for a reason. You know,
it has a bad rap for a
Sonic
reason, but it's
animation,
also like,
you also find great stuff.
yeah, like you give artists literally any amount of time and they actually care and are passionate or something like that, they'll do something. They'll do something better than whatever's you released. Like
Yes.
that's kind of a given of like, yeah, no, a fan is gonna make something better than what's actually released. Like that's, I mean, to me, that's just kind of the common idea now is that fans make better stuff than the actual shows.
Very accurate. It's true,
It's just that's my
You know,
concept.
we were actually talking about this. I did my Patreon chat last night, and with all my high tier Patreon folks, and one of the things we were talking about was how modding has gone from like with games. Oh, 'cause we first started talking about the Unreal Engine KOTOR project, like the TV
Mhm.
show project that
Right.
ended up being canceled, and I had no idea it got canceled.
Oh.
Cease and desisted, but
Oh.
we were talking
That,
about
yeah,
how
because that was pre-announcement of
yeah.
official remakes, like, but alas.
So we were talking about how the technology available to everybody is so good now. The fans can actually create better quality things than like the actual companies that produce these movies, and they're afraid of that. So we kind of live in this era with like not just like fan made TV shows and stuff like on YouTube, but also like mods. There have been plenty of mods that have gotten shut down, ceased and desisted because like, you know, and it just sucks because these are things the fans want, and the companies are coming in and not
Telling them no fun.
yeah. And I'm sitting here going like, I would just continue making my project and then put it on like a Google Drive or something, and then just be like, oops, here is this link to a it may or may not be like and have it like, so a lot of you guys are young. Back in the day, people would make their own like home movies and stuff, and they'd circle VHSs around, and that's how like shows like South Park initially first got started. So South Park started as a thing. I can't remember the name of the. It was a Christmas thing. I can't remember the actual name, but it was Trey Park and Matt Stone. I'm sorry, I bumped my mic. Sorry if I hurt anyone audibly. Trey Park and Matt Stone made the Christmas South Park movie. That's where they introduced all the different characters. And if somebody knows, they can correct me in the comments. But so they made it on like a home movie in high school, like on a videotape. And that tape ended up getting circulated, passed around, copied, to the point where like big executives finally got to it, and they're like, who made this? We want to make this like a TV, like Comedy Central. We want to make this like a TV show or something. And eventually, that's how South Park started. So what's stopping people from just putting things on flash drives and just being like, oh, here's the KOTOR animated series I made in Unreal Engine. Enjoy it.
I mean, that's
like, always nice to see when I mean, in this case, it wasn't a previously established IP, but related. It's like the example I always think of quote unquote ascended fan to official status. I always think of Stardies, 40K animation.
Yeah.
I got a better one for you. And it's with BattleTech, and it's a guy named Anthony Scroggins. He's on his DeviantArt is Shimmering Sword. Dude started out as just a fan of BattleTech, drawing BattleTech mechs in his own designs of how he thought them. And then 2012, 2013, gets hired by Catalyst Games Labs, the people who then had the rights for BattleTech, and then made him the head of the redesign
Oh,
for literally the entire franchise.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that's
well,
happened. Like Team
Yeah.
Fortress 2, that used to be a mod for Quake, you know.
Yeah.
Then Insurgency Sandstorm used to be a Half-Life source mod. You know, like
Yeah.
Well, and I guess in a smaller, Star Wars related example, there is
Battlefront.
Fractal Sponge. He started making his, fanship renders.
Yeah.
The Minty
There's
Central
also-
Guide to Warfare.
Well,
The-
I used this
there's-
example last night with my Patreon folks. Matt Sloan. So back in the day, Lucasfilm used to hold contests for fan films. They don't anymore because
Definitely.
they hate the fans.
Clearly.
Lucasfilm used to hold contests for fan films, and one of the winners one year, I think it was in 2006, there was a little video called Chad Vader, the Day Shift Manager.
Yes.
That ended up becoming a whole YouTube series, and then now those guys do another YouTube series called Beer and Board Games, which is one of my favorites. But that's
They're
getting ahead of myself.
fantastic.
So
Matt
Matt,
Matt Sloan. He's now just the
Yes.
go-to
yeah,
Vader
Matt
voice
Sloan
actor when
was
they
the
don't
voice.
have the money for James Earl Jones. It's
Yeah,
I
Matt
love
Sloan
it.
was the voice of Chad Vader, Darth Vader's cousin that works at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up, being the voice of Darth Vader for the Force Unleashed games. So,
Yep.
you know,
He
And-
was also Vader in Star Wars Empire at War,
hmm
Battlefront, and he's also been Vader in all the recent video games as well.
yeah,
But yeah, no, basically anything when they don't have the money for James Earl Jones.
right.
Basically, that is fantastic.
But it just doesn't happen anymore. But, anyways,
Does just in different ways and not.
well, with companies
Star
that
Wars.
care and give a shit. Not
Yes.
not,
That's the key.
Yeah, let's not get started down that rabbit hole.
But,
speaking of companies that don't care,
well, wait. Going back to
there's-
Andor, people want to know
Going
if
back
you
to-
liked it.
Yeah.
Som.
Did you actually enjoy it?
I quite did. It
Okay.
was very, very unique, very good breath of fresh air in terms of for storytelling. I lowered scale, very low. There's many. I want to, just avoid spoilers. It's great, and not just that people keep telling me I look like Diego Luna. This is
Oh, I can see
but-
it.
Well, hold on. Si yo voy al español por un momento, and then I go back. I can even sound like him a little bit.
Okay, a little bit. A little.
little. No, stuff. But I think there's other stuff we have on the list as well. So as I was saying, speaking of companies that don't care about people, Amazon and their Lord of the Rings show.
Oh, Rings of Power.
And I know you're a big Tolkien fan. What do you have to say about that?
I tried to give it a fair chance. It wasn't like with Star Wars where they were actually overwriting the source material, but I still found myself getting annoyed that they weren't really adhering to the lore. So like a lot of people were giving shit about the diversity casting. That didn't bother me. Actually, some of the characters that people were worried about in the previews, like Disa, the Dwarven princess, she ended up being like one of the best characters. She's awesome. But the diversity casting never bothered me. I wish they could have like presented the characters better and kind of like delineated the different cultures and kingdoms a bit. Like they don't portray the Numenorians correctly. The Numenorians are supposed to be these tall, almost superhuman, long-lived humans that are very noble, and like they didn't really portray that very well. They didn't really get it, and like
regular dudes.
yeah, they were just like kind of like regular dudes. They didn't get why the Numenorians disliked the elves. They tried to turn it into a modern political They tried to modernize it by making it political. Like, the elves are coming over here and taking our jobs. That's literally...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, like, on the nose. And I'm like, that's not why they hate the elves. They hate the elves because they're jealous that they get to be immortal. The whole thing with Numenor is on... It's an island in between Middle-earth and the Undying Lands where all the elves live. And from on top of the mountain, the Menel Tarma, which is the only mountain on Numenor, they can kind of see, like with telescopes, they can see like all the elves living in bliss on Valinor. So like after the centuries go by, they start getting like jealous that like, hey, why are we dying while they get to go, frolic and be free, and we're not allowed to set foot there. So that is what ends up creating the animosity between Numenorians and elves, and they just didn't get that. They also misunderstood Mithril. They tried to make it into a MacGuffin that like supposed to like solve all of the elves' problems, where that's not what it was at all. It was just a shiny, durable mineral. It was basically, Mithril is basically like Beskar, where it's like this really durable material. There's not a lot of it, and it's highly valuable.
Right.
Not to interrupt, but I think I've said this before, but I just love hearing nerd rants about things I'm not as familiar with, because it's kind of like seeing like perspective, like what happens when I start ranting about Star Wars. I just love.
Oh, I'm gonna try to keep it generic, because I could actually go into like detail, be like, well, in the flashback when they were looking at the First Age, the map wasn't correct. They're missing the whole chunk of Balerion, which sunk into the sea after the War of Wrath, but that's that's like going too deep and nitpicking.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I love to hear.
They didn't portray things correctly. Like the new characters they made were cool. They did not portray the existing characters correctly, which, given my history with Star Wars, I'm extremely tired of seeing. So it kind of made me start resenting the series a little bit. Brian from Barbara's Basement is here. Everybody say hello to Brian. And
Hello, Brian.
Go check out his channel. He's awesome. He does canon and legend stuff. He does a lot of comic reviews. And I like watching him play Star Wars Battlefront with his friends, and it's pretty fun. But going back to what I was saying.
Hopefully he gets out of that basement sometime soon.
Yeah, Barb really needs to let him out. Like, I don't know.
I think he needs water. He looks a little dehydrated last time I saw him.
He's looking dehydrated. I can see his ribs.
Yeah, he's not looking too good.
Yeah. But no, it's just like they had the opportunity, and I know the Tolkien estate kind of put restrictions on them because the Tolkien estate didn't really want them to make this. But
I wonder why.
Yeah, so they put all these ridiculous restrictions on them, being like, oh, you can't cover the First Age and all that. But
That's weird.
Yeah, no, it's like they had an opportunity to be faithful to the lore, and they didn't do it. And they could have still been inclusive and have excuse me, I hit my mic again. I can't see it. I have peripheral issues.
You have a helmet on.
They had this they had the opportunity to be faithful to the lore, and they still could have included the diversity and inclusion and stuff like that, and it would have been fine, but they didn't. And I kind of got mad, and I don't think I'm gonna stick around for season 2. I hate watching isn't healthy, and I'm not gonna hate watch it like I did with the final 3 or 4 seasons of TCW, minus 7 because it's new canon.
Yeah.
But I'm not opening that can again. But yeah, just and none of you guys saw it?
I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I've only seen all the movies once.
I'm very much a casual as well.
I mean, you can.
Yeah,
I
appreciate the dwarves.
The dwarves are awesome, and
I appreciate dwarves.
My favorite episodes were the ones with the dwarves, because there's this dwarven prince named Durin, and he develops a relationship, like a really cool friendship with Elrond, and just everything that out of his mouth is hilarious. and the
Wait,
antics they
isn't
get
that like
into.
the? I thought wasn't that the true name of the Balrog that Gandalf fought?
So
Durin?
the Balrog that Gandalf fought is called Durin's Bane.
Durin's Bane.
Durin is a reference to the first dwarven king, and in the dwarvish culture, they believe that when a new king inherits the throne, they sort of like absorb all of their forefathers' knowledge. So the first dwarven king was Durin the Deathless, and in keeping with that tradition, a lot of the dwarven houses will name some of their sons Durin. So that way, when they inherit the throne, they become another Durin, and that's supposed to be like a continuation.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
Sorry if my chair is creaking, but that's fascinating. I that's the thing I love about Tolkien. All this minutest lore, like just one man did all of them.
yeah,
Damn. God tier.
you know, with the Star Wars expanded universe accomplished in 40 years with a whole bunch of different writers and content creators, this one guy accomplished in a couple books.
Real.
Yeah,
That's not a Giga Chat. I don't know what is.
right.
That's what I aspire to do with Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Oh yes,
I
your
just,
short story.
I just love the acronym. Like, haha.
Wasn't that a movie?
I don't know if it was a movie or not, but it is a very common saying in military circles of just Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, because it literally just means what the fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
And the kind of concept of it was, I chose the name because it's tongue in cheek. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But it also aspires to like hey, this is definitely more of a tactical kind of sci-fi. I took a lot of lessons, like not like inspirations, but literary lessons from another really good sci-fi book series. Highly recommend everyone read it.
I think we've covered it before.
Galaxy's Edge.
I still need to read it. It's sitting on my bookshelf right here.
It is a really good it is a really damn good story, especially even if you just read Legionnaire. I recommend at least just reading Legionnaire. But I was like, oh man, it really opened my eyes to like some of the ways that you could write a sci-fi tactical kind of story, and I was like, wow, this has really never been done before, and it was really unique seeing how it was done. So I intend to do something similar but less Star Warsy.
Okay.
Well,
quote Captain America. Put it on the list.
it is on the list.
In terms of tactical sci-fi stuff, I believe I've mentioned this on the podcast. I've been helping a friend. He's been writing his own, sci-fi / fantasy series, Realm Wars. But now he's going back. He's already published the first book, but now he's going back to the beginning and rewriting that. I'm like, well, okay then.
Oh no.
I mean, I get that though. Like, sometimes you're just like you come across the point where you've learned something completely different, and you're just like, wait, now this thing in the past, that's garbo. I need to fix this.
That is that's like almost word for word what he said.
Yeah, it's like I get that because
the Descendants. Yeah, no, he's got
because Whiskey Tango Foxtrot was literally called was once called DEK, which was edgy German for the Eternal War. And then before that, it was just called the Millennium War. And then before that, I didn't even have a name for it. But it's just like every time I've rewritten it, it's gotten a new name, and I have improved as a writer for it. Because sometimes you go and you're building up this huge like lore and everything like that, and you realize like if you go back and check like the original stuff, none of it fits with what you're currently writing. It's just like, crap. I gotta
That's
go
what
back.
he has me around for, because I'm so completely obsessed with the smallest details of continuity that I can catch things. I'm like, oh no, hey, no.
Can
You
I
said
hire
this.
you?
Tell
You
me.
said he had 4
I'm here,
buttons
I'm
on
here.
his coat. Now you're saying he has 3.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're Star Wars freaking continuity nerds. That's what we do. That's the whole point. It's like, what? Why is Evan Peel in TCW season 3? He's supposed to be in Coruscant Nights or whatever. That's what we do. That's what we do. That's
Look,
why
I
I'm
need
here.
you. I need you to help me keep that kind of stuff together, because like I have like Word documents and stuff like that. I have spreadsheets. I have entire folders of stuff.
Message me. I'm here.
And I'm just like, I need to make sure if I'm getting this right. Did I remember this detail about it? Don't get me started on. I need to make a list of city names. That's the other thing I need to do. That's.
A map. But
I have a map. But it's literally a map the size of Earth. So
That's quite a large map.
yeah, putting cities everywhere on the map. I'm just like, fear. It's fear. Also, I'm having someone lovely enough to actually help fix the map, because like the map itself, while a big improvement over previous ones, still not as accurate as I would like it to be. And
Right.
she was kind enough to be like, hey, I can help make this a little bit more realistic and accurate if you'd like. I was like, I would love it. How much do
Yeah.
I owe you? She's like, no, I'll do it for free. I just like doing this stuff. I'm like, you are amazing. Thank you. Because cartography, I love cartography. I am not educated in cartography.
No. It's kind of an out-of-date profession with the rise of satellites.
You would think it was, but there's still like, it was something I actually recently looked into. There is actually growing need for cartographers
Really?
because of GPS. And it's like this weird, like something that people thought, oh, GPS is gonna like negate the whole use for cartographers, and it's like, no. What it actually is they are now like doing city planning and country planning level stuff.
Oh.
So instead of just making maps, they're actually like helping to plan out and entire sections, because if you're making a city or something like that, you kind of need a map.
Right.
And cartographers knowing that kind of geography and stuff like that can help with that. Knowing how geography works, knowing how to read a map,
Yeah.
how to read a topography map, thermograph map.
Well, I mean, yeah, especially like in China now, they've been building so many cities so quickly that they look like brutalist hellholes. But I
Necromunda.
yeah, we're getting to Hive City levels soon.
Dude, China has
compare that to like Hong Kong and like Guangzhou itself. It's beautiful. Like I love. My favorite architectural aesthetic is city with trees, with like jungle around it. So Hong Kong, Rio de Janeiro, I think they're just absolutely beautiful. We're getting way off topic, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was our original topic?
Well,
Andor?
We were talking about
Or-
Rings of Power is where we last left off.
Yeah.
Let's go
But
back to that.
I've kind of closed it a little bit where I just wish they were more faithful to the source material, and they're taking the anti-woke crowd like too seriously, to the point where they're now hiring all these other different writers that are more woke, and they're like, we're gonna make it even woker. So I'm not like, not that I'm against like
fabricated,
and not that I'm against like
backlash, basically.
Right.
Like to try to just anyway.
not that I'm against any of the woke stuff. I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for having different actors of different ethnicities playing different characters, because it's a fiction. It doesn't really have to be realistic, and that's fine. I get that, but that to me screams we're gonna not care about the lore and we're just gonna care about how we present things in a visual manner, and so I'm not gonna stick around for season 2. But yeah, they had the opportunity to basically like flesh out this under like the second age of Middle Earth is like in between the first age and the third age, and it's the most under fleshed out era that they could have like added some depth to, and they just completely fucked it up. And those are my closing thoughts on Rings of Power.
That's about right.
Yeah, I feel that. What was our next topic?
Well, so when we first started, during our last podcast, Kenobi, we talked a little bit about Kenobi. Kenobi wasn't finished yet, right. So I figured now that Kenobi is finished, I could let you guys talk about like how it is now that it's been finished.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched it, but I have watched like the fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of those are actually decently done fight scenes.
Right.
How do I word this? The issues I have with the fight scenes really comes down to like the last one, where we saw Kenobi just kind of like lifting a bunch of these like rocks and stuff like that and everything. I was just like, what is this? This is just actually, what is this? What is happening here? But I did like some of the more emotional depths to like the Kenobi and Vader fight. How the two of them their chemistry was working. So I will say like, hey, that's at least somewhat decently well done. It's not perfect, but it is like it is on its path, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay,
for the most part, yeah, it
was getting there.
It's good. It's
yeah,
it was a bad show. It was yeah. Like there were some like weird complaints people had. Like I think Leia's that actor, she had Carrie's mannerisms and like like on point. I loved. She was hilarious, but
yeah, I do think that she was actually pretty decent. I didn't hate the kid. I never hate kid actors. I don't like kid actors, but I never hate them. I always kind of see them as like, can we do without the kid?
Jake Lloyd. Yeah, let's not go there, but yeah, no,
yeah.
I just wish just kind of felt necessary because like the same it's not the same because the Kenobi novel was just so good and hit so many of the same
beats
about his like isolation on Tatooine and whatever. I'm like, yeah, and now here's the one ultra nerd complaint I have. I felt so completely baited by the fact that they went to Jabim. It had nothing to do with it was just their, say, Lamau mud planet instead of any of the, how much thematic depth Jabim had in the original Republic.
Oh, yeah.
And if they actually paid attention, by the time of the Galactic Civil War, Jabim wasn't a mud planet anymore. They had actually strip mined the ore that was underneath the mud so much that they turned it into a desert planet. And then,
oh my god, you're right. I never noticed that. Yeah, in the Rebellion comics.
In the Rebellion comics. And then after, Luke tried to, help the pro-alliance Jabimai party
They were
against the
doing all good
pro-empire.
until they mentioned his last name. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
you.
right, but they got over that, but after like they lost and the rebellion got away, they took all of them as prisoners, and then they base Delta Zero'd the entire planet. So it was just like nothing but slag until
Yeah, no,
after.
because like so
Yeah.
much.
So Jabim had like the worst hand out of all.
Oh yeah, no, because for anybody who like doesn't know, the probably one of the best Republic comic arcs is just one of the most brutal battles of the war. Just so much death, so much like. What I meant in terms of like baiting is that was where Anakin even got some of his dark for example, that was where he learned you can rip someone's throat with the Force, the Force choke. He basically at the end had to choose between staying on the planet, helping the Jabimi ultimate and probably die because or pull his troops out so they can live another. So yeah, that's to live moral ambiguity, haha, and where he thought Obi-Wan died for the first time.
Yeah.
As well in TCW as well. Twice Anakin, I guess, in the Clone Wars thought Obi-Wan died. It's like, all right then. But I digress. No, that's my ass nerd complaint.
I think my biggest
Oh no, continue. I was about.
my biggest complaint that I had, because again I didn't actually watch the show because I was just like, my biggest complaint was actually one of the scenes where Obi-Wan apparently is like disconnected from the Force. That whole thing, no. I have words on that one.
That makes sense. No, that's we've seen that with other Force sensitives in other media.
Yes. So, but my problem was that literally Yoda's parting words to Obi-Wan was, "I have Force training for you to reconnect with your old master." And it's like, did he just not do the training?
He did, but it wasn't to any effect until finally at the end that Qui-Gon.
Yeah. But anyways, my issue was actually one of Obi-Wan's injuries that he should have sustained. When his face is literally thrown into fire and then dragged across hot coal.
Yourself some Bacta. Back to oil, anything, bro?
No,
Perhaps he saw it coming and used the Force to kind of cushion him from it.
No, this is the part where he had been disconnected from the Force, and Vader
Wait, he
was just
disconnects himself from the Force in the series?
yes,
Well,
yes.
Yes-ish. He's just become. It's basically his use of it has kind of atrophied.
So they tried to make him into Mitra Surik, kind of.
Yes.
Well, not to that extent. More of in the sense of Pavan. No.
There were some Jedi who could willingly ignore the Force. Like there was this one in the MedStar duology. They talk about this one Jedi who practiced Teras Kasi, but when he would fight in the Teras Kasi matches, he would kind of consciously disconnect himself from the Force. That way he could, fight fairly.
Really?
But to the
did he appear?
What?
Did he appear invisible in the Force like a Vong or something?
No, not like Jason Solo appear visible in the Force sort of deal, but it wasn't to the extent of the Jedi exile severing herself from the Force. It was more just kind of putting blinders on around him so he couldn't call upon the Force while he was using Teras Kasi, because he didn't want to get the visions of oh, I know what this guy's gonna do next.
Basically, stop his own
Yeah.
precognition.
Yeah, and you know, like a lot of Jedi when they fight, they let the Force flow through them, and basically like the Force does like all the blocking and stuff for them.
Exactly. That's why everything's. People say, "Oh, all the fights in the films are so choreographed." When you have two precognitive beings.
Yeah, so he did that to kind of try to remove his yeah, but like couldn't
in order to fight fairly. That's really interesting.
Yeah, but not to the extent of like the Jedi exile. So was Kenobi more on that level, or was it more on like Mitra Surik severing herself from the Force level, wound in the Force?
More Mitra,
Really?
because he did not put up a fight against Vader. Vader wiped the floor with his ass, and he's just like letting it beat. Like he was just letting Vader beat the crap out of him.
Basically, he just got ultra rusty, and like throughout the story, he like gets back to his old self in terms of his.
But the injuries I was specifically referring to was injuries that he was still quite weak, and he should have had his face burned, because the entire idea that Vader had was like to make him feel the heat that he felt on Mustafar. So like he caused like this huge fire and had like really hot rocks and everything like that, and he just dragged Obi-Wan's face across the ground. But then Obi-Wan gets up and he's like perfectly fine. And it's like,
he wasn't perfectly fine. He was completely out. He had to wake up and back.
No, he wasn't. He had no scars or scratches on his face whatsoever.
I mean,
he had like his robes were dusty. That was it. And I was like,
he was completely out for the count. What?
He was out for the count.
Am I totally misremembering?
I think you're misremembering, because I recently rewatched that fight scene in preparation for this. I was just like, why is his face not like melting off? Why does he have like the most minimal of scratches on his robes? What is this?
I mean, afterwards, he went into a bacta tank.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I was just saying right then and there, he should have had.
Oh, you mean during the thing itself?
Yes. His face was fine. I was like, they couldn't have done.
Dragged across like oil, like burning oil or something.
Yeah, it's just like, why what? Could they just not afford the special effects?
They can afford anything. I will say, absolutely badass. When Vader just pulls down, he say, "Oh, Buzz Dark," and no, when he just pulls down that escaping ship, just yeets it onto the ground, like, oh, that was badass.
That was all right. Yeah, I have no like substantial issues. I do question just like why. But I'm never
in retrospect, do you think Kenobi was a good or a bad miniseries?
I think it's
good. It wasn't. I definitely wouldn't say it was bad. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I'd give it a 4. I'm not saying it's absolutely awful, but it was not good enough. Like
enough great. There weren't any really terrible moments, but there also weren't any many great moments to.
Yeah, the Sith Inquisitors, the Imperial Inquisitors also were just kind of
very underwhelming. I definitely agree. They were all very underwhelming as villains.
So now, when we last talked about it,
you could say, "Oh, is that intentional to hype up Vader or whatever?" But it's like, eh.
Yeah, when we last talked, they had killed the like High Inquisitor dude who was supposed to be alive in Rebels. Which
no, that was a fake out.
Oh, okay, so they resolved that issue.
There was actually a meme that came from that. It's just literally a couple episodes later, he just like basically it was all a plan on Vader's part to weed out. He knew. What's her name? Reva was like actually planning to kill him or whatever. He's like, he just like strolls up in the funniest camera angle. He just like walks up like to this this low shot looking up. He just walks up on screen, looks down, just says, "Oh," it's like hilarious. Hello, good sister.
Yeah,
Did,
it was.
did Obi-Wan say hello there?
There was a yes. There was like every episode. I was like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? Those are the last thing he says. He's like when yeah, no, at the very end, like Owen's like 'cause, Owen has always been very abrasive about and slash Obi-Wan, and it's like but after everything he did in the stories, he's like want to meet him, so like he just goes up to young Luke.
Uh-huh.
Camera zooms in. It's like, wait, is he gonna? He's gonna. Hello there. It's like, I recognize thing. I clap. Yeah, call me fucking soy boy. Call me soy Jack. Whatever.
Yay, prequel memes reference.
It's a prequels meme reference. Call me smooth brain. I don't care. That was me.
I just wasn't intrigued enough in it. And here's the thing: I love Ewan McGregor. You can almost always get me to watch something if it has Ewan McGregor. But just the entire time, I was just like, why? There's no real reason for it to exist.
It's fair. But last. If y'all going kind of unrelated, but related, unrelated. I've seen the new Sator stuff with the Mandalorian stuff, that whole Civil War thing.
All I saw was the new promo image with Manda-LORE the Avenger, and she's crossing blades with Heta Cole.
Yes, I just watched all the cutscenes for that yesterday. That was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
I need
Always
to.
just talking for some old Manda-LORE. Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Ah.
I need to get more into SWTOR. I've been trying to.
Both of you do. It's
Well,
the one
I don't
continuing.
I don't
piece
have
of
time.
Legendary.
Look. For me, I am actively like playing it because I now have a guild for it.
Mm-hmm.
I should play more. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, like me and my buddies all are playing it now, and we actually have our own starship now. And so we're just like balling. We're like, awesome, this is cool. But yeah, I do like SWTOR. I do like the designs of SWTOR. I think SWTOR is great. I just need to play more of it.
Right.
No,
I just don't. Oh no, sorry. Continue.
No, I'm just. There's just that one little bit of me who's like terrified of day SWTOR servers get shut down. I'm like, oh well. It's that for.
I honestly thought that was gonna happen like 2 years ago, but.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it keeps making money, which it apparently does, because the cartel market is absolutely insane.
But I can't get into RPGs because I just don't have the time. Like,
yeah.
in between like working my real job and then I'm getting commissions on Patreon for videos here, and I'm trying to at least release like one video a month. I'd like to do more. And then shorts are going to be monetized in February, so I need to start making more shorts again.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
It's just, I don't have the time anymore. And, in my actual, like, free time when I'm not with, working or working on a video or with my family, I'm modding for my Star Wars Empire at War mod. So...
How far along have you gotten now?
Another guy who worked on the 03 Clone Wars mod with me years ago when I was in high school. 501st Captain Rex, he's come back. He's actually helping me, and we've gotten pretty far along.
Let me get this straight. Captain Rex and Captain Fordo are now working together on
Yes,
mod.
essentially. Yeah, we worked on the Clone Wars 4.0 mod back in the day, and then I did the sub mod for that mod, which turns it all into 2003 Clone Wars. He helped me with that. So now we're working at it again. We have a third guy who he doesn't really know, like, we're kind of like, he's kind of like in limbo. But once he's like actually has some free time and can help us out, he might be helping us out with like the Lua stuff, so we can actually add in like some interesting components. It's not gonna quite be Empire at War expanded level, like with when Thrawn's Revenge and Fall of the Republic are doing, but I would like to add some interesting mechanics to make it not just like another aesthetic mod for Empire at War.
Yeah. No, I mean, on the rare occasions I get on ModDB, see your guys' updates and stuff. It still boggles my mind, like how I know someone who can make this stuff. Like, damn.
Right. What I need is a modeler. That's what I need. And you were talking about Blender, and I'm like, please learn how to Blender, please.
I'm
need
learning.
help.
I'll not sure about how converting that into formats for you. And
There are
rigging.
plugins. There are plugins for Blender that will allow you to export into ALO format because it's on the Alamo engine.
So that's the format EAW uses. Interesting.
Yeah, it's on the Alamo engine. Same with what's the other one they did? Earth at War. And then I think Grey Goo. I think Grey Goo is on the same engine too.
I don't know, because the thing I am an animator with an asterisk on that. I have an animation degree, except I barely learned anything in they haven't taught us how to do a lot of it. So and it was all in Maya and now and I'm after having a Trojan, I'm too afraid to pirate again.
Right.
So I'm learning.
Oh, is that what killed your laptop?
That was last. Yeah.
Are you sure that's what killed your laptop?
We trust.
Surely wasn't.
Products now.
It wasn't a terabyte of hentai.
Surely wasn't all the just Mandalorians.
It wasn't Manda-LORE the Avenger. X whatever fan fiction.
Mandalore the ultimate X reader.
Oh god. But
I think we broke him.
Is he talking? I can't hear him.
No, I don't hear him.
Sam, what happened? Is he gone? Did he go away?
He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah.
He's dead, Jim.
Well, while we wait for him to come back, was there anything else we missed that happened since we last broadcasted? There was Kenobi, there was Tales of the Jedi, there was Andor.
Andor.
Halo had already completed by our time we did our
Yeah. And honestly, that spoke for itself. It kind of wrapped itself up, and I don't think 343 will be doing anything like that for a while, at least. Hopefully.
I didn't see a huge problem with it. I kind of liked it. Oh,
there he goes.
We lost him completely.
Yep. He died.
Can you message him and see what's going on?
Yep.
Actually, I can Facebook him too.
Oh,
is he back?
Does he yet live and breathe?
Oh,
nope.
No.
Oh.
I hate the Wi-Fi card on this PC so much.
I'm so sorry.
So bad.
I have returned after 1,000 years. Finally, we have returned.
pretty
that every
good.
time.
That's pretty good.
But what I was
Thank you.
asking is, we've covered, I think, pretty much everything that happened since our last broadcast. Was there anything we missed?
In regards to
Just content in general, like media. I don't think so.
It doesn't even have to be Star Wars. It could be nerd media. It could be books.
I'm
video
trying to
games.
think. I will say, game that has been surprisingly really good and will genuinely shocked me, of how good it was the latest Modern Warfare.
was
It I was not expecting much. I was expecting generic AAA release, COD clone 2.0, whatever. I was not expecting good things. Only to be absolutely told to sit down, buckle up, and straddle yourself in for one of the best Call of Duty campaigns I've ever played. The first Call of Duty multiplayer that I've actually enjoyed since 2013.
Damn.
And a co-op mode as well. And it came out with a full campaign, co-op, and multiplayer day one with graphics that were like insane, but as well optimized to where my computer could actually run it.
Well, I'll be.
I was like, holy crap, am I actually getting this level of graphics on my PC right now? I'm getting max level graphics on a 2015 laptop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm
okay.
with how laptops are built nowadays. I'm surprised the 2015 laptop is still running.
Yeah.
my.
Well, I mean, actually, I don't think it's 2015. I think it's more like 2018, but still, like,
That makes more sense. I had a laptop from 2012 when I graduated high school. That lasted me until about 2 years ago. So
yeah. Like, but it's still the fact of like this is a very big AAA game, and I was able to
Running it
still
on
run it
on a potato.
That is
on
very impressive.
on effectively what is now a potato. And I'm just I'm sitting here. I'm like, I am loving this, and it's great. I was like, what the fuck? A COD game that's good? What?
Is that the one with the whole Bravo 6 going dark?
No, that was the 2019 one. And the 2019 one was good as far as campaigns go. I did enjoy the campaign, but it was very poorly optimized, which is why I kind of had like this amazing epiphany of like, oh my god, this game's really optimized and it's not killing my PC, and I can actually play it and enjoy the campaign and not look at slideshow. Yeah, it was just like, holy crap, this is actually a lot of fun, and I'm very much enjoying it. I love the characters. So they bring Ghost and Soap back.
Nice.
Ghost and Soap's relationship is just like the most big brother little brother thing ever. Like just one of my favorite scenes was just like them meeting Alejandro, who is one of the other new main characters. They go and meet Alejandro, and Alejandro's like, Laswell calls you Ghost, and Soap just looks at him and he goes, actually, I think he prefers to. And before he can even say what insult he was probably about to call Ghost, Ghost just goes, "That'll do." It's just like shut up. That's fine. I'll take Ghost. There's an entire mission where it's literally just the two of them on radios, basically bickering back and forth, but also giving the best puns. It's not like a comedy for comedy's sake. It's actually like a coping mechanism. It's right after like a significantly bad mission,
Mm-hmm.
Not like bad as in like bad gameplay, is like no, everything just kind of went tits up kind of thing.
Right.
And it's actually kind of a coping mechanism that Ghost tries using to keep Soap calm while he's all alone and injured.
Right.
And it's like, I like this. This is good. This is really good. Is this character? you know?
Been a
I was
while
like,
since I've been attached to a new character, so maybe I'll.
yeah. I was like, I'm genuinely attached to Ghost and Soap and Gaz and Price.
So I only ever played the first Modern Warfare, so I remember Soap. I remember Captain Price.
Soap.
Call of Duty games weren't my favorite. Like, there was a period of time where I was really into first-person shooters, and then I kind of moved away into real-time strategy. And I've kind of been
Always
there
been a
ever
Halo
since.
boy here, so
Yeah.
back in the day, I was like, I went the RB and the Chief, like Lamau, Cock of Duty, modern look stupid. But now I have but now having played a little bit of Friend's House, I now have a respect for that. I mean, I know there's a lot of issues in terms of like having them pumped out every year. They like really got oversaturated, but to my understanding, everything to do with Modern Warfare and Black Ops are
Right.
what everybody.
So here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy.
What?
They've announced that they are stopping the every year release.
Oh, good. So they can actually like make time to polish games instead of just building on the last one.
Yes. We're not actually supposed to have another Call of Duty game for 3 years.
That's how it used to be back in the day. Y'all are
That
spoiled.
was
Back in my day, you had to
Back
wait
in
years for a video game. Y'all are spoiled now with your yearly titles and your
So what they're doing now is
season passes.
they're having Infinite Warfare do the main doing the main development, and all the other companies are just supporting that main development.
Right.
And it's
Good.
like, wow, this is good. Like they've within like the first month of Modern Warfare 2 being released, they have optimized it even further. Yeah, there's some like few gigabyte updates, but it's not the atrocious 2019 500 gigabyte update day one.
Remember when you would put a disc into a console and play?
Right.
Yeah. Now it's you press a button on the computer to play a game, and it tells you another 4.6 gigabyte update to go through, which again, that's still better than what 2019's Modern Warfare was. It's better than Vanguard. It's better than Cold War.
Right.
And it's just like, it's refreshing. I feel like I'm back in 2009 with the original Modern Warfare 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I have there's a huge nostalgia boost, especially when I go into lobbies and I actually hear people talking to each other.
Oh my god! What? I haven't had.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have had some of the. This is the crazy part to me is I've had some of the most wholesome interactions in DMZ.
That's interesting because when I left the Call of Duty, not that I was ever really like a member of the community, but when I kind of fell off the Call of Duty bandwagon, it was one of the worst video game fandoms out there. Like they were all just shit talking, and it was just like toxic.
And that still exists. Don't get me wrong, that still exists. But there's also like in DMZ. So DMZ is like their version of like Tarkov, I guess. That's what everyone keeps comparing it to. I've never played Tarkov, so I have no idea. I'm just like, I don't know. It's DMZ. It's fun. And like there's been times where like I'm just walking around, I hear someone else shooting someone, and I'll be like, hey, you need some help over there? I see you're pinned down by AI. And he's like, yeah, a little help would be nice. So I go over, I start fighting alongside him, and then the game actually allows you to party up in game. so I was like, hey, you want me to send you an invite to party up? He's like, yeah, that'd be nice. It's kind of scary going alone here. I'm like, here you go. Here's a party invite. And so me and him would just start going around the DMZ, killing AI and stuff like that, trying to avoid players.
Huh.
It's like that. That's not just like one-off instance either. There was another one where I found like a group of 3 players. They're like 3 buddies, already in like a max group and stuff like that, going around. I waved at them. They were like, I was like, hey, hi, hope you guys do good. And I accidentally spooked them, and they shot me.
Oh,
And
no.
just the first thing I hear the dude say is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, let me use my revive on you." I'm like, "You are spending a revive on me?
Bruh.
You
I
are
never-
so kind."
These are the kindest gamers you'll have. That does. Oh, sorry. Were you going farther or? That did
All I
bring
would
up
say
something
is,
in my mind.
Warzone and DMZ are free. You can play them for free.
Well, I did just
It's
get the Master
fun.
Chief collection, so if you guys ever wanted to play
Oh,
with me,
Absolutely.
oh, my
we
friend.
can actually
Oh,
stream
that's
that
important.
sometime.
We
Actually,
just,
You said-
oh my, Sam, how could you let me forget? Master Chief Collection has Steam Workshop mod capability now.
oh really? That's even
Yes.
better.
How
Yes.
could you let me forget?
How could you let me forget? Hmm?
How?
Yeah, no. This is the biggest 343W in ever. Like,
Gotta get those
Yeah,
W's,
literally.
boys.
They don't have many W's, but they managed to get that W, and it's amazing. I was like, holy God, this is wonderful.
I cannot put into words how much of a game changer that is. Like, because well, before we get into that, because quickly actually kind of related to FPSs and modding and whatnot. Have you guys heard of Squad? And,
Oh,
like,
Galactic
the Star Wars mod
Contention.
for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I've from the clips I've seen of that looks crazy.
Oh, it's on
cool.
my
Like,
wish list.
okay, well, maybe we'll all play that sometime.
Once
'Cause,
I
you know,
get,
I've
I'm planning on purchasing it just for Galactic Contention. I have no intention of playing the base
Man.
game. I'm getting
no,
it just
exactly. Because
I
I
need
see
to-
all these clips of people like, you know, they pile out of the LAATs under
Yeah.
droid fire. I'm like, oh, this is
for that. Be
literally
warned,
all they
though.
want.
It's a lot like Arma from what I'm looking at.
Yes.
So it's like
I've tried
intense
to
and extremely intense, and like you know, you're gonna have a million different buttons, and you're gonna have to remember, oh shoot, how do I revive this person? Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, I need to learn. I tried to get into Arma. I'm too smooth brained.
I mean, a couple of my friends and I will do we did like a Fallout RPG in Arma, and that
Oh,
was
really?
interesting. But it's
Well,
like
mostly what I did was try to set up NPC battles between like clones and UNSC versus, I don't know, Mass Effect Reapers, whatever.
right.
Do some crossover warfare. But yeah, we got to do this more. Do some, be it Halo, MCC,
Yeah,
or
we can do some. We should definitely do
Star
some
Wars
game
mod.
streams together.
Yeah, we should, especially Halo MCC with Firefight and stuff like that now.
I'm definitely down for that going into 2019. Wow.
Oh,
Going
my
into 2023.
Dude, trust me, I understand the same. My brain hasn't progressed since 2016, so I'm still
I've been
like,
kind of.
I feel
I've been,
18, man.
Yeah, I've been kind of living in my head for the past 3 years, so my
Who
perception
hasn't?
of time
Who
is
hasn't,
fucked.
though? Let's be real. Yeah.
But
I understand.
what I kind of wanted to do with our last half hour here, because we started around like 4:30ish,
4:30,
tiny
yeah.
bit late, and I figured we'd kind of open it to some questions. We had a couple questions at the beginning, but I figured we'd open it to some questions for the last half hour.
Yeah. Come
Yeah.
on, Vode. Give us some lore or anything general.
Or anything you
questions.
want to, ask us our favorite ice cream flavor. Who knows?
Yes, my friend Lily is here. She's my sequel. Yes, no. I messaged her. She said that the most me message ever sent was, so I just got Battlefront 2 and immediately modded it to remove everything sequel related.
Yes, my friends and I did that too. We found like some New Republic soldiers to turn like a New
Ooh.
Republic mod to turn the Resistance into the New Republic. Granted, I think they're based off of the ones from the Mandalorian, but they have the correct symbol, so I don't.
They have the legend symbol.
They have the correct symbol, so whatever.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Right. Our first question from Lily Blakeman. We've got favorite Lord of the Ring character.
Like
Do
Aragorn.
you guys want to go first? Yeah.
Awesome.
I will
I don't
point
know
that
what
to you.
else to say. He's just really cool.
Aragorn's
I
cool.
I will point that to you there, Tad.
I really like I like Faramir. He's probably one of my favorite characters because just like the shit he kind of goes through, and he's such like a noble like a gentleman person. He's like one of like the heroes of old, but living in a modern time where men aren't like that anymore. In terms of the story. And when I'm talking about these characters, I'm talking about the book versions. They kind of screwed up Faramir in the movie a little bit. They kind of made him like almost like, because in the movie they make it seem like he was considering turning Frodo into his father to get the One Ring and to steal it. Whereas in the book, he was never like that. He was just like, oh, shoot. He immediately recognized, like, oh, this little hobbit has this huge burden. And, but, like, in the movie, it's like, he's like, oh, this is a huge weapon that can win the war. And so if I bring it back to my dad will love me, basically. Where in book Faramir isn't like that at all. He's just a good guy. And like the dynamic with his brother Boromir is really cool too, and it was just heartbreaking, the scene where like he finds Boromir's boat floating down the Anduin.
Oh,
but
feels.
You have no favorite Lord of the Rings characters, Wildcat?
Let me see if I can get the correct one. All right, it's gonna have to be Thorin Oakenshield.
Okay,
I had to
like
look up
Thorin.
his name. Mainly because he just looks like Rob Zombie, but it's a dwarf, and I think that's awesome.
Fun fact: my childhood neighbor's uncle was Rob Zombie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
actually, you're gonna love this. I had I think I already talked to Lily about this. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Like he just looks like Rob Zombie.
Yeah. But no other reason, not that he's like a noble warrior or so. Like the movie version of Thorin kind of screwed him over too. But like
movies always do.
The movie version, like it elevates his character in some ways, and then like kind of makes him a dick in others. But that's a whole different conversation about the faults of the Peter Jackson Hobbit movie.
Yeah, many much talk about that. Right. The thing. So okay, as you may recall, I like other obsession beyond Star Wars stuff is paleontological stuff.
Yeah.
So, I was doing it, a little reading, whatever. So there's this. It turns out there's this.
See, I was right, Lily.
As it turns out, there's a species of Polish archosaur called smock. I was like,
oh, like Smaug.
So then it turns out I'm like, wait, is dragon? Yeah. So then I see the etymology. Oh, smock is just dragon in Polish, and I'm like, hold on a second. So then I went on this whole dive of I think Tolkien would be proud, just etymological. So no, it is not the same. It does not come from smock. However, I think they have the same base, like linguistic, because smog, as it turns out, came from like smeag from Old English, which means like to crawl, to creep, or something.
Well, Tolkien was a philologist, especially in Old English, Anglo-Saxon.
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly.
your connection is probably quite valid.
Yeah, no, so then so I went farther back on that and I saw that, the Proto-Slavic root of smok was also like something like Smiak or something. So and of course the Slavics and early the Proto-Slavics, Proto-Germanics, they intermingled and I'm like maybe there's something there. I don't know. I might just go in full schizoid. I don't know. But
No, there's usually something there about that because
I think Tolkien would be proud of that sort of
Yeah.
searching of lore. I don't know. But yes.
Any other
That's
questions?
my ramble. Yes, do we have question? Brothers.
give us question.
Questions.
Oh, I'm going through the chat. There were some arguments going on earlier I didn't even see.
I briefly looked at them, but I was like, meh.
Yeah, I think Chosen One has trolled the chat before. He seems just like
Yeah,
a troll.
I didn't. I saw that. I was like, no, that's bait.
Yeah, it's bait. Looking for
That's
lol
bait.
cows. Go back to Kiwi farms.
Look, I still
see
have my
what Chris Chan is doing in jail.
Yeah, right.
I still have my favorite lolcow. My Psalm. I'm gonna.
Oh boy.
We're coming up on the yearly the yearly mention of it in the mod chat, and I'm just gonna have to ping you back to it just so we can all have a laugh.
Okay.
Oh,
20 girlfriends
For
for.
have we talked about this on?
I don't know if we've talked about it on the chat, but it's one of my favorite things I've ever seen.
it's already been a year since that post.
It's been 2 years.
Oh my god.
It has been 2 years
My
since
perception of time is so.
So
For those who don't know.
For those who
Where do we
don't
even
know,
begin?
Manda-LORE has an official Discord. It's
Discord.
it's in the description along with all of these guys' channels and other projects that they're working on, which before we sign out we will all talk about what we're working on before we sign off. But yes, this is what transpired on the Discord, and I'll let you guys take it away because you guys moderate my Discord.
So basically what happened was this guy comes in, and like most people who come into the Discord, they just want to shit on Disney.
Yeah.
It's
kind of a problem. We're trying to fix it.
Problem. We've been working on it.
Because people who like both, I want them to still be able to talk about the stuff that they like in a respectful capacity. That's why I try to create some of those channels so that they can talk in there.
It has been getting better. We have been getting better with it.
Okay.
People have started actually listening and going to Spice Minds of Kessel to talk about their gripes with Disney and leaving the poor Disney Channel alone.
Disney Channel.
The Disney Channel. I mean, it is.
But
anyways,
and this is Disney Channel.
This is Disney Channel. But yeah, so like there's this dude who came in and he immediately starts on like a diatribe of just like how awful Disney is, how Disney canon is awful, how Disney fan people are awful, how the people who make Disney stuff are awful. And I'm like, all right, so what's your ultimate goal with this? He's like, well, I want people to see how great Legends were. I'm like, have you ever thought of just not yelling at them?
Yeah.
Basically.
Have you ever tried simply turning off the TV, sitting down with your children, and hitting them?
And
well, that's not the meme-worthy bit, though.
No, that's not the meme-worthy part. It's a build up to that, and that's the crazy.
You tell it better. Please continue.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like egging this guy. I'm not egging him, but I'm trying to like calm him down. I'm trying to de-escalate his anger because he's clearly like seriously vitriolic. Let me go ahead and pull up his exact wordings here. I have it pinned for a reason because it's one of the best things ever. And so one of the things he says, "It's like you were lecturing me about talking to consumerists. I did this tactic, and they react like drunks when you take away their booze." I'm like, I don't know who you are talking about, but okay.
Right.
He,
I don't know how to respond to that.
he then says, "I didn't buy 4 accurate clone trooper helmets for nothing like the shills did. Those people don't have Legos from 2001. They don't have action figures from 2007. I just bought a flag resembling the GR." So I was like, okay,
Okay.
you're talking about consumerists.
Yeah, but you're
Like,
being
then
a
you go and talk about,
consumerist.
yeah, then you go and actually talk about just being a consumerist. And so I actually said, it's like, are these things, and these things make you a fan or just a consumerist of an older era? And then he says, testing me. I'm like, no, genuine question. The consumer only buys things, correct? Because like you were just talking about all the things you bought. Like, but also saying that consumerists are bad. But I was like, I was genuinely confused. So I was genuinely like, are you okay? And he goes on this huge diatribe on whatever. I don't. It just goes into incoherent nonsense.
Get to the meme bit.
Then he gets to the last part of this diatribe, and he goes, "I am nothing without George Lucas's Star Wars. I wish I had a basement because that means in Vegas we don't have to spend too much time above ground for how hot it is right now, and my model train layout would be amazing." And then we get the line, "None of my 20 girlfriends in the past have supplied me with the same thrills from Star Wars and happiness, so I abandoned dating."
Oh god.
So,
I was just like,
where do you even begin with that? I have not had. There is no way in hell that you.
It's just like,
Yeah. It's
Lily puts it perfectly. She diagnoses him with needs to touch grass disease.
needs to touch grass disease. Well, he's apparently in Vegas, so there's no grass to touch. That explains some
I think they
things.
got AstroTurf.
I was just like, I just sat there for a good solid minute, probably just contemplating and then laughing that this guy
You
actually.
sent me the screenshot, and I'm like, what? I think I like called you afterwards. I'm like, is he? What?
I was like, originally I was thinking he was being joking, but then we get to the part where like I'm telling him to like, hey, you need to back up a bit. You need to calm down. And he goes to the part where he says, "Please do not talk to me again."
Oh my.
Which, by the way, he says that to me after I said, "Please take a step back and clear your head. Come back to this later because what this evolved was indeed a rant." And he's just like, "Please don't talk to me again." I was like, "Uh-huh." And that's where I had to let it be known that no, I'm an admin here. You don't get to make that request.
Right.
And
Ugh.
I was just like,
It's one
bruh.
of those times you come across something absolutely baffling on the internet. That's not. It's not even.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was.
even-
Yeah, too many death sticks smoked. I was just like, you need to, bro. You need to. Your vibe check has not cleared. You
No.
need to go back and check the vibe.
Nope.
And I was just like, bruh, you cannot be real right now. I really hope you're not serious right now.
Bruh.
But he was serious, and he left before I could ban him.
Like,
He left on his own accord before I could ban him because I was about to just ban him just because he was being crazy and weird, and at that point he just started going absolutely nutso. And then
every once in a while, I
leaves.
come across these.
Yeah, every once in a while I come back to that post. Just if ever I need a giggle, I come back to that post.
Having a giggle, man.
He
Alright.
came back rather recently,
Hey,
and tried to go on another diatribe, and I was just like, "Ha, not this time." And so I actually banned him.
Oh no. I mean, oh, good actually, but
Somehow, Sir username here returned.
Serious return. Yeah, it's like you can't ban me, I leave, and then comes back a year later, and he comes back at like really early in the morning, so I'm thinking he probably thought he was slick, that I might have been asleep or something like that.
Mhm.
Joke's on you, I wake up early in the morning. And so I saw him posting in the Disney Channel again, about to go on another diatribe again, and I was like, nope, not doing this, not having round two.
Like that's ever gonna happen? What the? What the? Stop.
But it still was probably one of the funniest moderator moments I've had on Discord. I was just like, that's hysterical.
Meme. All right. Do we have any more Okay. Cast your ideal retcon movie.
Oh,
I think we talked about
Tamara
this
Morrison,
on
Tamara
Cantina
Morrison,
Roundtable.
Tamara Morrison,
Tamara Morrison,
Tamara
Tamara
Morrison,
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 Tamara
Tamara
Morrison,
Forget Tamara Morrison.
Tamara Morrison,
Ed Harris for Kalskirada.
Ed Harris.
Based off him.
Well, now here's the thing:
Oh,
are
and then
you
we need Tamara Morrison.
for Wall and Vow? Are you team Ian McKellen or are you team Patrick Stewart? Because there have been fan casts of both. Patrick Stewart fits it a little bit more because he's bald, but
Yeah, I'd kind of go with Patrick Stewart.
I don't know. He doesn't have this. I mean, I was gonna say doesn't have that same like edge that Val's supposed to have, but he does a killer like Mito. So wait, sorry, no, that was wait. I being a dumbass.
yeah, Ian McKellen played Magneto.
Yeah. So wait.
Mhm. Either one really kind of
Val was
works.
supposed to have like that edge to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if Patrick Stewart seems too friendly.
Now, what about Etain?
That's a hard one. See, I don't know actors all that well, actors or actresses, all too well. Who would I cast as Etain?
Thinking of I don't know too many young actresses.
Yeah.
And with brown hair was Oh, we're all stumped here.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, hair color doesn't need to be because that
No,
can be
it's not the
dyed.
haircut.
That could be changed.
That's not the problem. It's the personality. And I know of a couple, but I can't remember their names. So that's what's stumping me, is that I can't remember names.
They say their roles. What they?
It's like one of those things where it's like you know them in passing,
Fair enough.
and I'll probably remember like an hour after this. I'll just be like, ah.
Okay, we'll come back to Attain then. What about anybody stick out for the other Koi Valdar or?
What about Rev Brayler?
Rev Brayler. Okay.
Everybody
Tough
thinks
older lady.
the gal from Glee. I can't remember her name. A lot of people fan cast her as Rev Brayler.
I mean, Glee actors in general tend to be pretty decent.
They're cursed though; they keep dying.
Yeah.
We need to put her and Travis in a secret background role.
Oh, she needs to have a
yeah.
a cameo.
Cameo.
What's it? What was his name? Marvel guy.
Also, do we want to go ahead and start wrapping up?
Yeah, I think we should.
Time, but
So, what are you guys working on? Sam, you go first.
sure. Same thing I believe I talked about last time. Y'all have seen the Philosophy of Kreia, the Foundations of Star, all by that same YouTube channel with like that whose
Blank.
username is just blank.
Yeah.
Um, those are just absolutely fascinating and like one of I think necessary watching for anybody who's wants to start thinking about Star Wars on a deeper philosophical level. However, I highly disagree with some of the final tidbits he like when he's just presenting the information. It's at the end he kind of goes on like a Randian like rant about like individual like over it's like, not to insult the guy, but it's like just very bizarre and kind of comes out of and it's like and the main thing that he completely forgets to address. Well, he only mentions in passing the East Asian philosophical influences on Star Wars. So I have been doing a shit ton of reading on Buddhist and Taoist texts and whatnot
Oh,
in
that's
order
cool.
to.
That's neat.
Yeah, no. So like literally right here on my desk is the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. So I've got I've got basically it's not I'm not sure if I'd call it a refutation of his arguments, but just a maybe just counter point, a response to his video on Star Wars philosophy. Because George has straight up said, like, I know it's there's totally elements about like there's so much about that kind of goes over a lot of certain audiences' heads.
Right.
So I've just been doing a lot of reading about that. So that's been in the works. I'm not sure if I mentioned that last time, but this has been in the works for like most of the year now. I've had a really weird year.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true
strange.
enough. Think I'd have more free time now that I graduated, but
Oh,
Hey!
yay!
Congratulations.
Congrats.
thank you. I mean, almost exactly a year ago today. So, but yeah. Oh, I've just motivation is difficult. But anyway, I move the mic to you, Wildcat.
Not much for me on my end, sadly. Most of my projects are kind of on hold until I can get a new computer, new editing software.
Oh.
Mostly because, or until my editor could get a new graphics card. One of the two, whichever one happens first. But I constantly artwork. Been working on Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Those of you who have been in the server, you've seen some little short stories that I've been doing of it.
I've only seen your artworks. I need to send me your stuff.
It's all in the artworks channel. You can actually read the stories with the artworks as you scroll through. I am running a RPG of that, so if anyone is interested, you can find me in Discord below. But yeah, we've been doing that. We've been mainly just working on Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, getting that fleshed out, because it's just been a lot of fun being able to go into like different inspirations like Ghost in the Shell, Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy, Metal Gear Solid, Ace Combat, a little bit of Star Wars in there, a little bit. Metal Gear. That's a really good Snake impersonation.
Thank you. No, I always think of David Hayter when he did his I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick in the cloud.
As cheese keeps alerting the guards. That's really good. I might have to hire you for a Metal Gear voice actor for Snake. Um, that is a lot like David Hayter. But yeah, so if anybody is interested in tactical science fiction universes that take place in a universe similar to our own, but not our own, that's what Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is about. It takes place on the world called Signi, Singi. Sorry, Signi, Signi. And it's like a fanciful version of like cyberpunk and tactical, and everything like that. So that's in the Discord as well. Been talking about that, working on that, and apparently there's some Star Wars project maybe in the works. We'll find out.
Nice, nice.
Insert rock eyebrow raise and boom.
Might be some Star Wars project in the work for that one, but we'll find out later.
Woo.
But yeah, over to you, Tad.
All right. So I'm done. The Super Battle Droid lore video I made was the last lore video.
Super Battle Droid, take him down.
Yeah. And I think this might be my last broadcast of the year too, because we're getting into holidays, and I have a large family, and my fiance has a large family, so we're going to be doing a lot of running around.
We're going into 2023, not 2019.
Yes. Even though I'm currently still in 2018, apparently.
I feel that.
I feel that so much.
So I've got a new Patreon commission I'm working on. If you didn't know, I have a Patreon where people who join the Ori Ramakad tier can commission a video topic for me to do a lore video about. So I'm doing the research and preliminary script writing for that latest commission right now. I am also working on the next timeline script for the New Republic era. If you recall, this year I published the Rebellion era, part 8 of the timeline series. So this next one will be part 9.
Oop.
That one I'm working on in the background as I'm doing my other shorter videos, because it's just going to be a doozy.
Speaking of droids, Ted, we got a droid in the chat.
We have a droid in the chat.
Blast it!
Oh no.
Nerf herder.
Okay, I don't know how to.
That's the sign we ought to go.
Yeah, I don't know how to get rid of him, but whatever.
I don't know either.
We're signing off soon anyway. But like,
Watch those just rockets.
Yeah, don't click on any of his links, whatever. And then I'm also working on my Star Wars Empire at War mod, which I think I also have linked below. Not that I update the mod DB really anymore, but we talked a little bit about that. Oh, sorry, I bumped the mic again. I'm really sorry. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Some significant progress has been made, and I'm still kind of chugging away at trying to get planets in there. I think I have like 180 something on my planets list that I need to get through.
Whoa!
So,
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
yeah.
Like all of those are in Galactic Conquest.
It's not going to be. There's going to be different Galactic Conquests, and there's going to be different planets pertaining to each era the Galactic Conquest takes place in. So it's not going to be an all-encompassing thing. So like planets that aren't really important.
Malachor during Clone Wars or something.
Yeah, planets that aren't really important in like the first year of the Clone Wars aren't going to be in the first story-driven Galactic Conquest scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing story-driven Galactic Conquest scenarios, and there's going to be one or two like free-for-all Galactic Conquest scenarios where you're presented with a large galaxy and you can do what you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've got going. But I think for 2022, I'm done. But,
Agreed.
But anyways, thanks for joining us, guys. Really glad to be back all together for another Oyu'baat cast.
Here's to you, Nevoleon.
And we'll have
To the new year.
More frequently.
Exactly. We'll have to meet more frequently. We could do some gaming streams together with Halo and Galactic Contention, which I do intend to get once I have $60 I can throw away without having to sacrifice food or shelter. But yeah. So.
Ganar, Tetur. A good day.
Thank you all
Happy
for
life
joining
day.
us. Later. See you all in 2023. Hopefully it's better than the past. Hopefully it's better than the past previous years.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Nervad. Koyashi.
Oh yeah.